Hey, this is Tony Cook with Model Train Resource, and ScaleTrains has an S Scale 1/64th release available, which if you'd have said that to me a handful of years ago when ScaleTrains came into being, they'll do S Scale one day. I'd be like, no, that'll never happen. But it has, and there's only one person I know to go to when it comes to S Scale, my buddy Mike Ostertag, who you know from the Second Section podcast. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me there, Tony.
Well, being the novice, I mean, you talked me into S a handful of years ago. I bought one of the American models train sets. I got like a
Yeah.
E25. I think I got a Jeep 35. I got a, dozen or so pieces of rolling stock and enough track I can put up a loop. So I do have some S. I don't have any S helper, but I did recognize, I call it the Crayola crayon box.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way of describing it.
And they've retained that. This is this first release of this two-bay hopper car. Now we say it's a first release, and this is S Helper tooling that they ScaleTrains acquired from MTH some years back. But this is the first time. This is not a reissue, right? Isn't this peaked in? It was talked about but never released.
Yeah, from what I understand, this is a new deal. This is a new car. Like you said, it was something that was never released. It was really close, I guess, from getting released, and then the sale to MTH happened, and it just never came to pass. So, yeah, this is exciting stuff.
Sharp car, and I guess with the version that was the non-peaked or the straight end of this, I think it's like a 50 or 55 ton two bay coal hopper was an S helper release, and this was to be a variation that didn't make it.
Yeah, this is I think they call this a Fishbelly hopper.
Yeah,
Is that what they call it? 55-ton Fishbelly hopper.
I think they do. Yes, and this is how it comes out of the box. These are the samples that were provided by ScaleTrains, and it comes with the big flanged wheels and the Hulk hammer
Hulk
time
hands, yeah.
uh, knuckle couplers, and we're going to look at that in a bit. And Mike's going to show me on swapping out wheels and changing the couplers because they do give you all that stuff. I was really impressed the inside of this. I think you said this to me in a message. Be ashamed to put a load in that because
Isn't
it's
that
such a
incredible?
good looking car. Yeah.
That they did so good with this car. And this is way out of my era. And I'll tell you what, this is finding a place on the layout because this is a shame not to display this thing and have it out there. It just sitting in boxes. It like you said, it's for to put it to put a load in this car will be doing the inside of this thing a great injustice. I mean, they even got everything right down to like where the hinges at the very bottom of the hopper gates are on the
Yeah.
inside. The interior portion of the hinges are in there. It's
It looks
great
nice.
looking car. Yeah,
And
it's
and
awesome.
it's injection molded plastic, but I think in the slopes there's weights. If not, I got to check and see if I'm wondering if the beam down the center, I'm not sure if that's die cast metal, but the trucks are metal, the truck side frames and the wheels are metal. These American Flyer style couplers are plastic, and the replacement ones they give you that we'll show in a bit are plastic. But the car itself is generally injection molded plastic, but it's got a nice feel to it.
Oh yeah, it definitely is not going to give you any derailing issues. I don't think if it's empty. It has a lower center of gravity, which is really kind of nice. So sometimes how sometimes you get a car and it's kind of got that weird, like a covered hopper can sometimes have that where it's towards the center of the
Little
car,
little wobbly, and
little wobbly and stuff. I don't think you're going to get this that with
no,
this car at all.
and lots of separate details. From this angle, you can see the grabs, the brake cage detail is all there, and the grab irons on the ends and the sides,
The
as you can see
brake
all
rigging
that.
is on the brake rigging is on the center sill as a separate piece. So
Nice.
that is nice. The other nice thing is the hopper doors, the bar
Oh yeah.
the bar on the hopper doors there. That is a beautiful ad because as it's just and they're detailed. They don't just have,
Mhm.
they're not just flush. You know, you can see the rivet detail in this and everything that they did. Even the locking mechanisms have detail to them. They
I
did a
mean,
really good job.
it's really nice, and yeah, see the chain, as you say, the air and the braking stuff, you can see down here hiding underneath in the trucks. I mean,
Yeah,
that's nice. I like that. And then this is it comes in a plastic tray. The model is wrapped. There is one sheet with some information on it, but not an exploded parts diagram, nor information on what do I do with this stuff? And so
right.
these are on the left there are the replacement kind of more scale tread wheels. And then you've got knuckle couplers to replace kind of the Talgo or the truck mounted couplers. And here's more look at that brake detailing.
Isn't that incredible?
I mean, nicely done. And the paintwork and the lettering I thought was dynamite on both of these. I mean, it's
The lettering is so crisp.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, so crisp.
really looks nice. And this is the truck as delivered, the big truck wheels taken off and the coupler arm is attached to that. But here's what you have there to replace with, and we'll show it in the video of mounting the new truck on and putting the coupler to it. But I mean, I think there's a refrigerator car. We'll take a look at the other models, and then there's a caboose that's coming out, but an impressive amount of stuff here rolling out the door for S Scale from ScaleTrains.
Yeah,
I
and
think
this is and all of this stuff is the tooling so far from what I understand. It's the tooling that they acquired from MTH. So there's going to be some, you know, you're going to get the original or the S Helper Services tooling, so to speak, with the ScaleTrains quality in how they're assembled and things of that nature. And it's going to be just an incredible run of cars, I think.
yeah, this is the first group. Uh and I'm happy to see I think I saw look at that sold out on
Yeah,
that one. 54.99 is the selling price on these as we're doing this video in early December.
which
Nice
isn't a bad price actually.
no, oh, I mean when you think once you go up in big scales like that, the price goes too. So I think these are very attractively priced. And then undecorated kit is available also.
Which is really kind of cool. That is very cool.
That is nice. And then the other items that are coming, I'm looking forward to this. The wide vision caboose. It's a nice
Yeah.
looking model.
Those are going to be really, really sharp.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I believe those are supposed to be an international variation to the wide vision caboose.
I believe they are. Yeah, I think those are internationals.
So
And
if anybody has paid attention to cabooses and HO scale in the recent announcements, um, this could lend itself to several variations to different class one railroads of the past, the BN, the Santa Fe, you know,
oh yeah.
Great Northern. I mean, there's all sorts of different variations that they had of these. So, you know, I'm not saying they're going to. I'm just saying that it lends itself to a possibility that it could really be a long running car.
And I don't think these are it says here estimated time December 8th, which would be this week, but I have not seen or heard that these are that close, but this is the other is this 40-foot rebuilt boxcar.
Yeah, that's kind of I think those are a war era. Are those the cars? I believe that they got steel sheathing on the outside, were rebuilt with steel sheathing. It used to be wood cars, and they rebuilt them with wood or steel sides.
I mean, that would be my guess because looking at, kind of the ends and that sill, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
this I would say is a very early 40-foot boxcar. And so, yeah, and being steel rebuilt. And it's coming two ways with the bed and door friction trucks or with the Andrews trucks and in several road names. And again, this also is a reissue of an S Helper release, but these are the first three out of the gate models for ScaleTrains.
yeah. It's
And
nice
that
of it. It was nice. It was nice of them to throw the EJ and E one in there for a little color.
little color. But it's a nice start on this, and I don't think we touched on the price again. $54.99 on the boxcar, which is nice, and I think the caboose is the real deal. because yeah, 59. This cabooses can really, because of all the extra little details on them, can kind of take off on price. And I
And
thought this
the
was a
the
steal.
S Helper Services one had an interior lighting to it, and the marker lights on the back lit up also. So it'll be interesting to see if that's how they come out with those as well. If
And
they
it is
update,
it is
and
showing
there's
the
an interior.
LED. Yeah,
Yeah,
LED illuminated interior and marker lights is
that's
what I
awesome.
understand on them. But no, those will be nice pieces. Looking at the model, I liked it a lot, but obviously it comes with, I guess, what's set up for American Flyer operation with the thick wheel treads
Yeah,
and then the big, like, coupler attached to the trucks. And my goal, because my other S stuff is like American models and things that I've gotten, I wanted to have scale wheels and the scale knuckle couplers to kind of work with those items.
right.
So when I got it, I expected there'd be some guidance on that sheet of paper saying this, like an exploded
On
parts
this one
guide.
right here.
Yeah, and opened it up, flipped it around, and kept waiting. Okay, whoa, where's the? And I went to ScaleTrains website, and I didn't find anything there either. But obviously, the wheels are a given that you've got the scale, or more scale tread wheels are in the one bag
Yep,
there
they're right here in this bag.
on the right side, and
Yep,
I twisted the truck side frames and swapped wheels and made that work.
yep.
Unless there's another trick I don't know about, but that's how I
No,
thought it worked.
that's about the best way to do it. And then, but one thing that I always do is I take the truck completely off of the car.
I did too, yeah.
Yeah, because that way, because the ladders on these cars nowadays are so delicate that you don't really want to start getting, to coin a phrase from our podcast, our greasy meat hands in here,
Yeah, yes,
and bust something off.
exactly.
So
So, yeah, I took that part off and realized that you got the truck side frames, and it is just a small Phillips screw, as you're showing here, to
yeah,
take
just a
that out.
small little Phillips screwdriver, and that's the number 0 actually is what it is.
And then
And just take
the
that off, and the I always call it a Hulk hand.
yeah, yeah,
It's because it looks like those big green Hulk smash toy
yeah.
foam hands, but that all comes off as one piece. And the reason it does that is because this is actually, I'm going to do this and flip this around. This has actually got fell right off. It actually has let's see if I can get this to focus.
There's, like, those little posts
Yeah,
or
there's like
guides, yeah.
little posts right here, right in here. You can see them kind of. I don't know if I can get this any closer to.
Yeah, and I think that what that keeps the middle section there, the truck, kinda not centers it, but
Well, it guides the coupler along with the
yeah,
frame, on the frame of the truck, because the truck goes here, so then it fits on and then as
and
the truck
will
goes,
turn with it, yeah.
yeah. So this is like their version of a or a truck mounted coupler, and it's really easy just to take it off and just set it off to the side. And then always make sure that you have a good idea where those screws go, because like right there, because that way you really won't lose them, because they can be kind of tiny.
I do like in the packaging, it comes in the clear two-piece and the model's wrapped in film, but I like the little trays that the
Yeah,
parts go in. That's very handy for when you're doing projects like this to dump stuff in those trays.
yeah. I always actually use them for my spare parts, and I put my regular parts off to the side, so that way as I go. Now, one thing that I do, try to get this centered, is like you twisted twisted it like that, right? Is that
Yeah,
what you did?
yeah, because being more used to, like, HO, my first thought was I could just kinda pull them a bit, and it's like,
Yep.
wow, yeah, not really. And
Yeah,
so
these
I
are really tough to pull on. I was gonna say that's
yeah.
typically the. Yeah. So one thing is you probably hit a really good way of doing it, is just because they do have a point to them. They do. The trucks have a point, just like an HO scale. Um,
I
and you just kind of take and kind of have to
I
maybe
think
wrestle a little bit.
I found push the springs down on the center part of the truck gave a little more leeway to being able to do that real wild twist to the truck side frame,
Yeah,
and gave me just enough that if I pushed that center down and did that, I was able to get the wheels free.
yeah. One other thing is I took the little flathead screwdriver and I just pried that open
Wow.
a little bit and popped it right off. Now I'll do both of them while I have it. It you can do it. This is one of those there's 50 ways to skin a cat
Exactly, yeah.
type of things. But it would be very helpful if they were to include the instructions on that, on how they recommend to do it.
Right.
You know,
Well, that's why we're cranking through it here, and then we'll put it out there, and then someone from ScaleTrains will make a video and say, "Well, these 2 guys knew nothing."
right? And and Ostertag is supposed to be some kind of S scale guy, and he doesn't even know how to do this.
Well, that's why I set it to the side the other night and messaged you saying, "Hey, I need some help. Can you give me some time and let's do this? And if I need the help, I'm sure there's other people that need the help too.
Yeah,
So let's swap and do a pair of these trucks and kind of talk a little bit about this car, seeing as how it's Scale Train's first
right.
164th." Yeah.
Now I will say this much: this on its own has some real beef to it. I don't know if you noticed that or not when you had it. The trucks themselves are actually quite heavy for a model. They're not like cumbersome heavy. They just have a really nice. I'm almost thinking that these are metal. They have
Oh yeah, yeah.
like they're a metal. The bolster is metal, and they have plastic side frames to them. It almost looks as if that,
I think
or
in the
are the
I
side
think
frames are metal.
the side frames are metal too. Yeah, that surprised me. I did not
Yeah,
expect that, and I don't think I have any S helper. As I say, all my stuff is American models, my freight cars and locomotives in S. I don't think I have any old S helper. I assume you do or have
yeah.
familiarity.
I do have. I have
Is
one right here.
is this friction truck just a standard one of theirs, or was anything new tooled up?
That I have this car right here, and I do not know if this is if these trucks are new tooling or not, um, because I didn't expect them to be made out of metal either. I
What?
expected like a Delrin or a typical plastic type of truck,
Yeah.
and
And the coupler is plastic, and it's shank that fits under it looks like the whole coupler mechanism is molded plastic. So what's on this one
these are
here?
metal.
Okay, and it
These
does
are also metal. Yeah, they're very well done too. And this is an S helper one. This is one
yeah.
of the regular S helper ones, and this entire car is actually very beefy.
Hmm.
The whole car is made out of metal except for the
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 deck,
wood
yeah.
the wood deck. So, but the whole car is made out of a piece of cast metal. This car is a really nice car. So yeah, it's so they stayed. It looks on the surface as if they stayed very true to how S Helper had their stuff done.
And
So
the tooling feels like there's obviously some die cast metal. Maybe I don't know if the beam down the center or in the slopes, they're hiding metal planks in there, but the car itself is die-cast plastic, but I think there's a couple of metal slabs in the in slope pieces.
there has to be something in there for weight because these are, as I'm struggling to get this on. This is interesting. The fact that they don't show you how to do this, because my biggest fear with doing these are losing the springs, because see
Yeah.
how those trucks are. I need to try to focus this camera here a little better. Here. Why is that not focusing? Nobody sees all my candy wrappers. Oh, I'll figure it out. But I am surprised though that they do not supply instructions as to how to do this, because there are springs, and I know it might be a little hard to see because for some reason my camera is not focusing. But it's there's those are actual regular springs right there. They're not molded in.
Right.
So you don't want to. And there's only two of them there, and they're really kind of important to making sure that the truck stays.
Oh, the
Uh,
integrity of the truck is
the
shot. Yeah, if those
integrity,
springs
yeah,
take off. And as I
yeah,
say, I got lucky pushing down the bolster, the centerpiece there of the truck, but yeah, you gotta be careful you don't send a spring flying. But to
yeah.
do that, then I could get, more cockeyed to the side frames and get those wheels in.
Yeah, and it's like I say, I get this one in here, be cooking with gas then. And the other thing is you really got to be careful because you are dealing with two metal pieces there. There we go. There, now we got it.
And
Now
man,
we
boy,
have it.
once you put those more scale wheels in, that truck side frame already looked good. But boy,
it-
once I got the scale wheels in, it was like, dang, that is nice.
That is a really, really nice deal. Now, while we have this like this off, the other thing is they have these couplers here.
Yeah, and this is where I got stuck. I got the wheels swapped, and I see the color matched plastic piece obviously goes over the kingpin, and it's got the little post. You can tell which way to orient
Yep.
it on that. So I figured that out, and you got all those little screws, but I got lost trying to decide where does that black plate go and the coupler.
I'm not sure that this is really used for anything other than a spacer if you need it.
I was wondering if yeah, was it a height helper if for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not exactly 100% sure. I have like you said, a good thing for those little trays that has one of these little screws kind of got out. One thing too is you're looking for trying to get this coupler box on here, right? So
Right.
it's one of the interesting things is they have this drilled out for what looks like an 802 KD 802 box,
Okay.
which is like basically the S scale equivalent to a number 5
Alright.
in HO. And so with this going, I'll just hold on to this right here. So that there you can see where they have it set up to screw it in the 3 locations right there in the coupler box. It's not a full depth coupler box
Okay.
like you would see like if you were using an HO like a KD number 5 or what is it, the scale one? Is that a 47? Is that what
Yeah, 148 or
or
something like that. Yeah,
148 or
it's a
something like
scale
that?
head medium or something like that, yeah.
What I find interesting is the fact that they give you these also,
Yeah,
and
and
what
they yeah, what do you
this
need.
is
Yeah,
this is the same as this,
right.
and this is to gauge the height of your 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 uh your truck. So you can put it on there right like that if need be, and then your truck will go back on it like that. And now if you need to raise that a little bit, you can do so right like that.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes some cars need it, some cars don't. I always found it interesting as to which ones did what because you would think that they would all come as one size. And then let's see here, how many of those screws do they give you here? The big,
There's
the big screws. They give you one, two. They give you plenty.
there's 3 sizes to the screws. There's not counting the one in obviously the truck. But yeah, there's those long screws, and then there's a couple of little small ones, but then I found 2 more kinda medium-sized ones.
Yeah.
So
So what
I'm
I'm doing here is I'm just taking one of the long screws and putting it in the center, and then just gonna go and put that one right on, and then I'll gauge the rest of it as I need to. Um, See if this will even take. Oh, it did take. Hot dog. Look at that.
I figured maybe those little screws where if you use that plate underneath the coupler, that behind the coupler, that single centered screw there towards the truck, that maybe that's what the little screw is for.
Yeah, that's possible. Now the nice thing is if you look, you can see right here. I'm gonna try to do this right in here. That screw does not poke back out,
Oh,
so
through the
that
inside, yeah.
through the inside. So that is really kind of nice because I've actually done that on models myself where I've um, gone and worked really hard on getting a model done, and the next thing you know is I'm poking a screw through a spot where I don't want a screw to go
Right,
to.
you don't want that showing. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, and so therefore now it's like, okay, well now I'm all frustrated, but
I
now I
like I
got.
like that they gave you both the options on having both style wheels and couplers.
Yeah, and you know what that does too is if you have somebody that does model like the believe it or not in S scale, and I believe in O they may have this as well. Is there's a subgroup to both sides. Now you have the American Flyer side, which is the really thick, beefy. Here's the thick, beefier flange compared to
Right.
the scale flange, and right there you can really see the difference, right? The American Flyer flange kind of reminds you, if anybody's old enough to remember, the old not Rapido. I almost said Rapido. River Rossi used to have their passenger cars. I used to have some Milwaukee Road passenger cars that had
Oh,
just
with the deep, yeah,
the
super deep
yeah
flange, yeah.
we used to call them pizza cutters because
Pizza
that's what.
cutters, yep.
Yeah, that pizza cutters. So um, doing it like this, you can make a transition car out of these. So that way, if you're using a combination of styles, you could actually use the American Flyer knuckle and a Katie style knuckle on each one car and make a transition car out of it. So that way, you could you know do what you need to do. The wheels are going to be your personal preference, I think.
And I assume you can't mix the wheels? The scale wheels won't run on American Flyer track, or will they?
Well, they will, but not well.
Oh,
And it's a little bit the same in reverse as well. The American Flyer wheels, they will go very well on like Code 83 track as long as you don't have any switches.
hmm,
They like to have they will definitely go and jump they will definitely jump frogs and things of
right.
that nature.
Yeah.
So now there we go. I got that. It's all in there now. That one's in. That's actually kind of slick.
And you used what, the long screw in the center?
Yep, I used 3 long screws
Oh,
is what I
okay.
did there, and I should have 3 other long screws. Yep, I got 3
Yep.
long screws left. So then we just go and we put the truck back on.
With the one piece underneath there, right?
Nope, nope. I don't use that
Oh,
piece
you don't need it?
until
Oh,
after I figure out whether or not the how the scaling and the gauging of the car is
oh, okay, yes, it for height.
for height. Yeah, and if I need to use it, then I do. If I don't, I don't. And there,
So they basically are arming you with 2 different things there between that what you can put on the kingpin of the truck, that color
right.
match piece, and then we're assuming that other flat piece with the holes goes under the coupler pocket potentially,
Yep, this piece here
like that would go under the truck, and then
that
the
goes
other,
under the truck. Yep,
if you need it, and then the other one gives you a little sliver of space in case, I guess, what you need to get
like a
the cup.
like a shim, almost like a
Yeah,
shim.
to bring,
So
yeah.
yeah, right. So I mean,
Hmm.
you really have. They've done a really great job with giving the modeler a lot of different tools. Now we've said it. I don't know how many times, a half a dozen already. really would be nice if there were some instructions as to how they recommend the changing of the knuckles, change or couplers, changing of the wheels. That would be very nice, even if it was something as simple as an IKEA style schematic. So
Exactly, and that's what I thought would be on the back or on this sheet, and was like, "Oh, there's nothing," and it's like, "That's not good." And
yeah,
I need to get a S height gauge because I mean, I can mate it up to my other rolling stock once I get the scale coupler on and try to decide, but yeah, I really need to get a height gauge to know is it correct or not, and then
yeah,
as you say, they give you 2 pieces to kinda play with the height if you need to.
yeah. It's really kind of neat. Um, okay, so now here's a coupler height gauge, and as you can see, I this is my coupler height gauge for S scale, and I can't remember where I bought it. Oh, it's from Katie.
Ah,
It's a Katie,
of course.
Of course. So what I do is I use Sargent couplers.
Oh, that's
So
right, yeah.
or inventive models. So I replaced the coupler on the gauge with a Sargent one, and I don't have the ball bearing in it. So that way I can just go and do what I need to with it.
Hmm.
But that will it's going to be kind of hard to see, but you'll have to trust me. It does line right up. It matches right up with
Oh, okay. And that's
matches right up
do
with
you did we added no other parts this time. There's nothing
the
on the truck, nothing on the coupler pocket.
right. I didn't add this little spacer piece because that would have added too much height to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good uh, without that spacer piece in there. That worked out great.
Nice. There you have it. S scale getting some attention from a major manufacturer, which I have this friend that has said for years, if we could just get
Yep.
like somebody big.
Somebody.
So there we are. And Mike's going to be reviewing the car that he's working on for Model Railroad News. You'll see that coming up soon. And I appreciate the time tonight, Mike, on this and going through and showing me on swapping out those trucks and neat stuff. What else are you working on? I saw a U-boat sitting there.
Yeah, I've got my friend Robert Frischella. This is a Gilmar. They're no longer making these, but this was a Gilmar brass U18B.
Oh, sweet.
So it's a kit. It's actually a kit, and so but I'm going to be 3D printing a nose
Huh.
and the number boards and the new smoke stack on or exhaust stack on it. So that way it's a little bit more accurate to the U18 as compared to the one that Gilmar made, which was fine. It was good, but we kind of Robert Frischella and myself kind of came up with our own design that's a little more accurate. So
Oh, very cool.
yeah,
Very
so
cool.
that was very very nice. That's coming up. Hopefully by spring I'll have that done.
And remind everybody on the Second Section podcast, it's twice a month. I see it coming up, but it always surprises me. Like seems like they just did one.
Yeah, it's every other Tuesday, and I'd have to take a look at my phone here quick, but because I think we're taking a couple. Andy is actually on a business trip, so our next show is being delayed, and it's going to be the next one is going to be on the 26th of the day after Christmas, I
Oh
believe,
wow,
right now,
cool.
and but it's every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, and it's just two guys talking trains. That's all we do, and we, you know, appreciate anybody coming on over and giving us a watch. We do it live, so there's a high quality of no production value to it whatsoever, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Our guests are awesome, and it's you know I don't know what else to say. It's kind of
It
hard to talk about something like that.
I have it on a lot of evenings when I'm working, and I end up having to go in like when you had Bob, you mentioned him with the U-boat. when he
Yeah.
did that slideshow on St. Louis about 5-10 minutes in, I'm like, okay, and I put down what I was working on, went into the TV room to put it up on the big TV to really get to enjoy the pictures, because you never know what you guys are going to do. But yeah, you lured me away from my workbench.
We got a lot of requests to have him back on and do
Yeah.
some more of that, because he has an archive of photos that he has taken over the years that I'm not saying that Mr. U Daly doesn't have a very good, because he's probably the king of photo archiving. But Bob has got some really, really good pictures. Really cool stuff.
It's a fun show though with you guys, and then I think I chimed in on, oh,
Yeah.
look at that car. I had my phone sitting there with me while I'm watching it on TV. That way I could bring up the phone and say, oh, look at that in the corner or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do a live chat. So anybody that comes on, you can chat live with. We've had Boomer Diorama on several times. We've had William Sampson on. He's part of the Five Timers Club. And you guys, a lot of these guys, they're so willing to answer questions, and that's what this hobby is we're just trying to give back a little bit from everybody that's ever taught us anything. We're trying to help, educate people about the hobby, and hopefully help make some people better modelers. And if it's anytime somebody has something that they have a question on, if we can, we'll throw it up there and get the guest to answer the question.
That's very cool. And you can find Second Section on Facebook, obviously. You guys have a website too? Is there a website?
I believe it is secondsection.com. And then we're also on YouTube. That's where our show is on live. Yeah. So if you go to YouTube, just look up Second Section Podcast, and we're right there. Facebook, Second Section Podcast. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Kind of hard to believe we've been doing it for 2 years already.
I know. Yeah, it is wild. I heard that recently. Like, what? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So there we are. Past. There we are. Mike Ostertag's going to review this first S-Scale release from ScaleTrains in Model Railroad News. Watch for that in the first part of 2024. Mike, I appreciate the time tonight. And this has to be a bit of a personal victory for you to see a major hobby name with just going to their website and seeing HONS as options.
Yeah.
Has to be a wow.
Especially one of the big HON scale players like that dipping their toe into the S scale market. I couldn't be happier. I will sleep very well tonight.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Mike.
No problem. Thank you for having me.